everybody. Thanks for calling. My name is Brandon Castillo. I'm a campaign manager for the Yes on Proposition 22 campaign. We want to give you an update. There have been obviously some pretty big news developments or potential developments in the fight to protect driver independence over the last couple of days. So we wanted to run through what this news all means and, more importantly, what we're doing to fight back against the politicians and bureaucrats who are trying to take away your ability to work as independent contractors. A housekeeping note, where everybody's on mute only. We're very excited that we have thousands of participants. Right now we're currently trending at close to 4,000 of you who have joined, and the number keeps growing every time I look. And because of that, we have to put everybody on mute. Otherwise, obviously, it would become a little unruly. But if you do want to reach back from the campaign, I want to let everybody know that if you press 1 on your keypad at any point during this call, you'll be entered into a queue, and over the next couple of days, somebody from our campaign team will call you to answer your questions and walk you through what we're doing on the Proposition 22 front to protect driver independence and to provide new benefits. So again, at any time during this call, it's going to last about 15 to 20 minutes. If you could press 1, that's how you can get a call back to get any questions answered. We won't have a Q&A, just given the large volume of people that are participating. We're trending near 5,000 already, but press 1 at any time, and a member of the campaign team will call you back. So with that housekeeping out of the way, I'd like to introduce Jim Pyatt. Jim is semi-retired. He's out of Modesto. He's been driving rideshare for about 4 years. Jim also started a group called the Independent Drivers Alliance of California. It's a group of drivers who've been fighting against the legislation and other things that politicians are doing to try to take away your ability to work as independent contractors with the flexibility that we know is so important to you. So I'll turn it over to Jim for a few minutes here. And again, press 1 at any time during this call if you want to be entered into our queue for a call back from the campaign. Jim, I'll turn it over to you. Thanks.
All right, thank you. You know, for years, the Sacramento politicians have tried to force us into becoming employees, and they're just ignoring the fact that it would take away the flexibility that so many of us rely on, like me as a retired person wanting to drive part-time. And for years, we've told politicians we don't want to be employed, that we prefer the flexibility of independent contract work. And they're forcing us into employment would mean loss of jobs for people like me that just wouldn't be able to do it under those circumstances. And unfortunately, our worst fears are becoming a reality, which scares me. As you may know, earlier this week, the judge issued a court ruling against Uber and Lyft saying companies can't classify drivers as independent contractors. And just yesterday, Uber announced that if the court appeals does not stay or reverse the ruling, they could be forced to shut down services in California. That would be devastating to all of us. Well, in the middle of, we don't know what's going to happen with the court case or the company's appeals. What's clear is that the politicians' laws and lawsuits are a direct threat to hundreds of thousands of jobs for drivers just like us in the middle of this recession. And their flawed legislation also threatens rideshare services that millions of Californians rely on, people who need doctor's visits. I drove somebody this morning to a doctor's appointment. This is the worst outcome possible at this time. And how can the politicians be so clueless as to try to shut down hundreds of thousands of jobs in the middle of this unprecedented recession? Too many of us need this work to help make ends meet. But there is hope. Proposition 22 on California's November ballot will protect our right to work as independent contractors while providing us different benefits, and you can go check those out. We, the people, can take matters into our own hands as drivers. We can educate the voters, urge them to vote yes on Prop 22, and end the uncertainty and save app-based jobs. The election is on November 3rd, which seems a long way away, but the reality is it's coming up very quickly. So my main message today is that it's important for all of us as drivers to work hard to pass Prop 22. I hope you'll join me. You can sign up to support the campaign at yeson22.com. That's yeson22.com. After you sign up, make sure you're sharing the support of everyone you know on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram with your family, friends, people who get in your cars, people you deliver food to. Talk about it to everyone. We will win this by speaking loudly and by staying strong together. And I know we can do this because we are on the right side of this such a critical issue. So while this week's news is bad, this fight is far from over. Let's take matters into our own hands by passing Prop 22 to protect our jobs and app-based services. And at this time, I'd like to introduce a fellow rideshare driver, Jan Kruger from Sacramento, California.
You won't be able to read all or remember all that.
Thanks, Jim. Good morning. I'm Jan Kruger. I also drive rideshare, but with Lyft up in Sacramento, and I've been driving since the beginning. I started doing it to earn extra income, even though I had a full-time job as a state employee. Like many of you, I've seen a lot of changes in driving rideshare over the years, but what has stayed constant is my ability to drive when and where I want. I now recently retired, and this freedom and flexibility is still critically important to me. Drivers by a 4-to-1 margin want to be independent. Please. We got into this line of work for a lot of different reasons, because we had extra time or wanted to help people or earn extra money. But I guarantee for all, the number one reason we do this is because we have the flexibility to drive when and where we want. So I'm upset, like everyone else, that the politicians are trying to force us to become employees and take away our access to flexible work. The politicians and others say employment won't jeopardize our flexibility. To that I say, get a clue. What other job do you know lets employees show up to work whenever they want, stop work whenever they want, or work for multiple companies at once? The answer is none. While we're all frustrated with recent developments, there's something we can do right now to protect our independence. And like Jim, I'm a strong and vocal supporter of Proposition 22. Prop 22 protects our access to independent work while providing new benefits like an earnings guarantee, healthcare benefits, and more. Prop 22 also ensures that these services remain affordable for the public. Think of all the help you've given people over the years. If you drive rideshare, we've helped keep impaired drivers off the road. And if you do delivery, you've been especially critical during the pandemic, delivering groceries and medicines to people sheltered in place, and you've helped keep restaurants afloat during the economic crisis. Prop 22 provides a new way for drivers, not as employees with all the baggage that comes with employment, such as a flat wage and set shifts, but as independent contractors with guarantees that will make driving more secure without hampering our flexibility. So please join us. As Jim said, help us speak to other drivers to get the message about Prop 22 circulating among drivers. We will soon have Yes on 22 materials for your cars so you can proudly share your support and talk to your customers. Be sure to order the handouts when you get notified that they are available. We can win this, but we need all of us out there pushing hard until Election Day on November 3rd. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jim and Jan. We appreciate all you're doing along with your fellow drivers. We have tens and tens of thousands of drivers that have signed up to actively support Prop 22. We're hoping those of you on the phone will join us as well. Another housekeeping reminder, I'll be quick and we can wrap this thing up in a few minutes, but as a reminder, if you'd like to receive a call back from the campaign to answer your questions or get information, please press 1 at any time. Again, press 1 at any time, and somebody over the next couple of days will return your call. Good morning, I'm Brandon Castillo. I'm the campaign manager for Yes on Proposition 22. And I'm going to talk and get into detail about what Prop 22 specifically does in just a minute here. But as you heard from Jim and Jan, the politicians just aren't listening. Drivers overwhelmingly prefer to be independent. We've told them this. You want to continue working as independent contractors because you value the flexibility. Over 80% of drivers we know are part-time. They drive fewer than a couple hours a week, no more than 20 hours a week, to either supplement income or around your other life responsibilities. But unfortunately, the politicians aren't listening. They want to force you into an employment model to do the bidding of the special interests, frankly, that are pushing them. We've warned them what would happen, that many drivers simply couldn't work. We're talking about the loss of hundreds of thousands of jobs, but they kept pushing. And unfortunately, on Monday, the state of California was successful in getting a court ruling issued that could limit your ability to work as an independent contractor, eliminating your access to that flexible work, and potentially cutting off your ability to earn money driving rideshare. The court granted what's called a stay. So while they ruled that Uber and Lyft have to classify their workers as employees instead of independent contractors, they basically put a pause for 10 days to give the companies time to appeal. However, that's only temporary, and there's a lot of uncertainty right now. We know this is tumultuous times for you drivers. It's already bad enough with the pandemic. Many of you aren't driving. Many customers aren't riding. And to throw this added layer of uncertainty on drivers during this time, during an economic recession, when people need work, they need money, the politicians keep pushing this is just unfair. As Jim mentioned, Uber announced just yesterday that without a successful appeal, they could be forced to shut down services in California, as they simply cannot switch their business model that quickly. Separately, just yesterday, Lyft stated in court, they independently announced that it cannot comply with the injunction at the flip of a switch. Reclassifying self-employed drivers would be a significant challenge in the best of times. And in the current pandemic environment, Lyft simply does not have the infrastructure to shift to an employment model on demand. So the bottom line is that while we don't know what the Court of Appeals will do, I want to reinforce that as of right now, nothing has changed. There's still a process, the court process to go through, and we don't know what the Court of Appeals is going to do. There is a serious and significant risk that rideshare services could go away in California in the near future, and that would be disastrous. Frankly, just disastrous. It's the worst warnings that we've repeatedly told the legislature and others who keep pushing this flawed employment system that just doesn't fit for this on-demand work. It would be disastrous for you and hundreds of thousands of your fellow drivers. It would mean the loss of hundreds of thousands of rideshare jobs in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of an economic crisis, and the shutdown of services that millions are relying on. Before the pandemic, many essential workers still relying on rideshare right now to get themselves to work. Doctors and nurses and grocery workers, restaurant workers, people that have to work and don't have other means of travel. We're talking about a potential shutdown at the worst possible time. Just think about the magnitude of who's hurt. Students in low income, seniors without access to a vehicle, the differently able who can't drive. They've ignored not only the rideshare drivers, but the passengers who are relying on these services. They've stubbornly ignored, this essential sector of our economy, to do the bidding of special interests. So, we know that the economy is going to recover and rideshare is going to bounce up. We know that more and more delivery has become essential for families who are sheltered in place, who don't want to go out or can't go out because they're at risk of the virus. And most importantly, we know that this uncertainty and turmoil, on top of all the other uncertainty and turmoil in the world today, is just confusing and downright infuriating for you all. And it should be. You should be infuriated. We've been warning that this is what's going to happen, and unfortunately, it looks like the worst-case scenario could happen. Again, I want to reinforce that there's still an appeals process, and we'll see how that goes. But without a successful appeal, we could be facing the worst-case scenario that we've been warning about. Fortunately, as Jim and Jan said, there's something you can do to fight back. I know the worst feeling with something like this is to feel powerless, like there's nothing that we can do. Well, there is something that you can do. As I mentioned, tens of thousands of your fellow app-based drivers have joined with a big coalition of small businesses, social justice advocates, public safety leaders, app-based platforms like Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Postmates, Instacart. They're all strongly supporting Proposition 22. The measure is on the ballot. It's qualified for the ballot. Voters are going to be voting on it in November. You can get information at yeson22.com. But I'm going to explain to you what Prop 22 does. I'll do it quickly. And again, there's more information at yeson22.com. And you can always press 1 to receive a call back from the campaign. The bottom line is that Prop 22 is the solution that we need to save app-based drivers, to save jobs, and to provide you new benefits and protections. And lastly, to save the rideshare and delivery services that millions upon millions of Californians need and rely upon. If passed by the voters, which we're doing everything we can to make sure that happens, and we hope you'll join us, Prop 22 is going to do a few important things. First and foremost, 22 protects your ability to work as independent contractors with the flexibility that we know you want to choose when and where you work, what rides you accept, and the ability to work with multiple apps or other jobs. This independence and flexibility would go away under an employment model. That's why we're protecting in state law your ability to do this independent work. It would once and for all end the uncertainty. It would override the legislature and their bad law, and it would put the voters of California in charge of protecting driver independence. Second, we know that this isn't just about independence, but this is about the quality of life for you all and making sure that this is quality work. And so Prop 22 addresses a lot of the things that drivers have consistently said they want. It improves the quality of app-based work by providing drivers a historic package of new benefits and protections. Just some of the things, and again, I encourage you to get more information at yeson22.com. Just some of the important new benefits for drivers included in Prop 22 is an earnings guarantee that you will always earn at least 120% of the minimum wage for engaged time with the ability to always earn more. Prop 22 sets a floor, not a ceiling. You'll always earn that 120% of the minimum wage with the opportunity to earn more, as you always have. It includes 30 cents per mile compensation toward expenses for drivers. It includes funding for a new healthcare benefit for drivers. You only need to work 15 hours a week with a platform, and you'll qualify for a partial stipend to cover health benefits. If you work 25 hours a week, you'll receive basically full benefit coverage. It'll be a payment that'll cover a full covered California plan. So this is richer than employment, actually, because you start earning this benefit at 15 hours a week. You can earn it across multiple platforms. If you drive with multiple platforms, you can receive a stipend from multiple platforms. It includes medical and disability coverage for injuries and illnesses on the job. Similar to workers' comp, it covers you for any accidents on the job. And it includes protections against discrimination and sexual harassment. Prop 22 also includes safety protections for passengers and the public. And again, you can learn more about them at yeson22.com. The bottom line is that 22 is a win-win. It's a win-win for drivers, it's a win-win for customers, and for the public. But we need your help now more than ever. We've seen the headlines of the last couple days. We understand the consequences if we don't rally together, rally as drivers, to support Prop 22 and get the voters to pass Prop 22. We need your help. If you haven't already, please sign up and get involved. Again, the web address is yeson22.com. From the website, you can go to a section called Just for Drivers at the top of the website. And when you click on that link, you'll be taken to the Campaign Online Action Center. And there's a lot of easy online tools. It doesn't take a lot of time at all. First and foremost, sign up. If you haven't already, sign up to support Proposition 22. By signing up, you'll get put into our campaign database. We'll be able to send you emails and text messages about what's going on in the campaign, things you can do. Also, from that Action Center, you can download important information. I think Jim and Jan talked about there's going to be driver handouts that you can hand out to your customers. You can put window signs in. You can put back a headrest signage and things for your customers to inform them. There's easy one-click action tools so you can share your support on social media. You could contact friends, family, and colleagues to also do the same. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible for you all to get involved and to get engaged. We know you're busy. You have other obligations. Signing up for Prop 22 only takes a minute, and getting engaged doesn't take very long at all, but it can be very important. We know that your friends and your colleagues and your family will look to you as rideshare drivers as the experts on this. And so the more they hear from you, the more likely they are to support Prop 22. Passing 22, quite frankly, is the single most important thing you can do to protect your access to flexible rideshare work and receive these great new benefits. But we need your help. We need your involvement. I think we've seen from the recent announcements and the recent court cases that without Prop 22, with the whim of the politicians and the bureaucrats who are doing the bidding of special interests and trying to take away your ability and your access to the independent, flexible work that we know you overwhelmingly by a 4-to-1 margin, 71 to 17%, drivers have told independent surveys, they want to be independent. It's time for you to take a stand today and to get engaged. If you sign up, we'll keep you informed. We will keep you informed as the court process unfolds over the coming week and any changes that happen. But in the meantime, again, the single most important thing you could do to protect your access to app-based work, to protect your flexibility and independence, and to unlock these great new benefits is to sign up and support Prop 22 at yeson22.com. Please be safe out there. We'll keep you posted. We know these are tumultuous times, not only because of this recent push by the politicians, but because of the pandemic. So thanks for joining. Again, if you want a call back from somebody from the campaign, just press 1. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. We have thousands and thousands of drivers on this call. I know we have a lot of people who are asking for information. So press 1 and you'll get a call back. And please join us at yeson22.com. Thanks. Be safe out there, and best of luck to everyone.